Sum the importance of this game up?
Yeah, it's really important for us. It's as I said, it's an important game. It's a big week for us. We want to finish well. I think we've been unlucky at times this campaign, and it'd be really good to get to finish with a win. I think that's something that we desperately want and desperately need, really.
Going into the final game, you've been involved with Wales for 6-7 years. Not an experience you had before. So going into the final game with a wooden spoon that you don't really want to have.
Of course not, because we don't want that, don't it? But yeah, it's a new experience. But it's a new squad as well, and it's part of learning and growing as well. I think people will take a lot from this campaign, in the new boys in the squad, and they'll certainly be better from it. Yeah.
What will you take from this campaign?
That our preparation sometimes can be a bit better. I think we can't sort of let off one week and then push harder the following week. We've got to be full throttle, if you like, from day one. And yeah, this international rugby is a cutthroat place, business, and you need to perform at your best every week if you want to win.
Yeah, you came into this tournament with a bit of an injury. It was your first game for a while. How would you view your form during this campaign?
Okay, bet as it's gone along. Struggled with my knees, obviously from Cardiff coming into the campaign, which wasn't ideal. Obviously, you want to get some games under your belt for some form and some match minutes. But yeah, the knees, they kept filling up with blood, so I was having them drained fairly regularly. Up towards 50 ml of blood at a time, really. So they're a bit of a hindrance, but yeah, thankfully, as we've got through the campaign, they've been a lot better.
2 years ago, it was quite a memorable game in terms of the way it finished. Andrew Capuso, you were man of the match, you gave a Wigan medal. What are your memories of that? Obviously not great in terms of results, but in terms of the
not great memories.
No, but in terms of the actual, that sort of moment as well.
Yeah, I think that was Biggs' 100th and Al's 150th, if I'm right, as well.
Yeah.
So, this is George's last game as well, so there's another occasion to this fixture 2 years later, and I'd like to hope that we send George off with a win, not like how Biggs and Al celebrated their incredible milestone. So it's important that that's an added occasion to the day, if you like, and it'll be important that we do something for George. Yeah.
Sum up George North's contribution to Welsh rugby.
How long you got? It's incredible. I can remember watching him a few years younger than him. How old's George? 31. So yeah, 3 years younger than George. 4 years younger than George. I'm watching him burst onto the scene, and he just looked made for this level, didn't he? Already, so big, fast, powerful, and funny enough, you would try and emulate him when you're a kid playing because of the things he was doing, and he's had some memorable moments for Wales, probably iconic moments as well. And he's a top lad, and his contribution to Welsh rugby has been, incredible, really. And he'll be a massive loss because his influence around the group is huge. His contribution to what he does for this team, this group of players as well, is massive. And yeah, there's no real words I can really say to sum him up. Just thank you for helping me as well, because when I came into the squad, George was playing on the wing a lot, and I learned a lot from him, and he was so good to me as a youngster, as he has been with everybody. So yeah, just a massive thank you from me and all the team, really, because he's been incredible.
Thank you.
Josh, on the whole, during your Wales career, you've only really known relative success. You've been involved in some massive occasions for the right reasons. How different is that pressure this week?
Yeah, it is a bit of a different pressure. I can understand your question and where you're coming from there. I think pressure when you're in a final or in a game to win something it feels a little bit different. It's a bit of, not a nice pressure, but it's we got something at the end of this, where this is a bit more of a we can't afford to lose this sort of thing, pressure. And that's the sort of mindset where we have to have, where we have to realise that, international rugby is about winning. We haven't been able to do that yet, and as I've just said, we're desperate to win, because aspects of our game have been really good. I think we've seen a big step forward in certain areas, of our game as the games have gone by. But as I said, you've got to be at your best to win international rugby, and Italy have proven this campaign that they've improved, and they've improved really well. I think they were very unlucky not to beat France. I think it shouldn't have come down to that kick in the 80th minute. They're probably good enough to win that in regular time. So we're going to have to be at our best if we want to win.
Yeah, absolutely. And just talk about Italy a bit more then. Where have you seen the improvements in their game? They look as dangerous as they looked for as long as I can remember.
They do. I think over the past couple of years, their attacking system and play has really developed. They've had some great continuity with the players they have in their squad as well. And they're a team that, quite similar to Ireland, have a lot of sort of ball movement. They move the ball pretty well. Forwards are very good at interlinking with backs, and their connections are very good. They all seem to flow quite nicely. And I think one of the biggest improvements I've seen is defensively, actually. They look really hungry defensively. I think there was a long period of time against France in the French game when they were on their own line, and they just refused to let them score, and they were just battling away. And, you know, that shows the work ethic and sort of trust you've got together in the team. So I think that's been a massive improvement for them. So yeah, they've really improved their game overall. Yeah.
Just lastly for me, only seems like yesterday we saw you bouncing around the Under Armour Centre in Baltimore, joining up with the squad for the first time. Now George is leaving the picture. You're almost one of the more senior players in the squad all of a sudden. Have you transitioned into that role at all of a senior player? It's probably going to be something that comes in a few months' time, if not now.
Yeah, potentially. Like, I don't think becoming a leader as such comes natural to me. I'm more of a chip in here and there and say my piece, but not talk just for the sake of it, and just sort of focus on myself, like try and get my own job correct, like your own house in order before you start asking questions or pointing fingers, if you like. And that's the sort of way I've always been. I've always just tried to make sure I get what I need to do perfect or as close to as I possibly can for the team before saying or doing anything else. So I don't think being a talker in a team environment, you know, in a huddle or in a team meeting really comes natural to me, if I'm totally honest. Something that I've probably had to do a little bit more. But yeah, that's something probably I'm still trying to get better at, and understand when's a good time to say something, or how to say something is really important in that leadership role. Is not so much what you say, it's like the timing of when you say it and how you say it as well. So to get your message across the best the best way possible. So that's something that I'm still trying to get better at.
Thanks, Josh. Good luck.
Well, you mentioned about the difference between must-win games, aiming for a title, and then in the situation we're in now. Have you ever been in a game with this sort of basement pressure, if you like, on you?
I've been in a relegation battle in the English Premiership with Worcester. We lost our first 7 games of the season. I remember one season, and you know, we were miles adrift at the bottom, and it came a game against, I think it was London Irish, where it was pretty much whoever wins is going to stay up. So yeah, similar in a way, but yeah, like I said, the pressure is different in these types of games. Yes, it is, but that's something that you've got to embrace as well. I don't think we can shy away from this. Like, we can't go in our shells now and cover up. Like, it's easy enough to say, especially if you're new to this sort of pressure in this environment, you know, lads in their first campaigns and stuff. But we've had the mentality of let's take this head on, let's be at our best this weekend, and let's finish with what we deserve. I believe is a good victory.
And you talked about having some good moments. You know, you won the second half against Scotland. You won the first half against England. You were there for 65 minutes against France. It's not going to take an awful lot of difference.
No.
To turn it.
No, I understand what you're saying there. Absolutely. There isn't an awful lot. I think, you know, when we were looking back at the France game, we were I think they said 63 minutes. We were in a test match. It was 24-23, was it, or 22 to us? I think it was just 3 points in it, if I can remember right. And we were in a right test match, you know, back and forth. And then it was just like a dip. And then that's when France gained momentum. Such a powerful team that kept on top. And, you know, there's loads of aspects around our area where we can control better. Maybe our game management could have been a little bit better. You know, not thinking, right, we've got to score straight away. We can apply a bit more pressure early on in sets, squeeze teams a little bit better. And that all comes with learning out there. You know, there's no better learnings than being out there in the arena, if you like. So I think that's something that we've looked at as a squad, and certainly somewhere we can look to apply pressure on Saturday.
I think as George said yesterday, it's got to be about the team and the win.
Absolutely.
About him.
Absolutely. I think one thing we said when we first came into camp, before we kicked the ball, was, you know, team first. And that's the mantra. Like, and that goes for everything. Your preparation, your selection for the weekend is disappointment, but you put your disappointment aside and your ego aside, and you say, right, what's best for this team? Because regardless if you're on the field on Saturday or you're in the matchday 23, you're still part of this team, you know, and it's easy to forget that when you're not selected, because you have the disappointment to deal with, and that's natural. That's just how, you know, pro sport is. But, you know, realising that the bigger picture is benefiting the team. If you can get your own preparation correct, prep the team as best as you can, then you are putting the team first, and that's what you want. You want good people who are willing to sacrifice some things for the benefit of the team, and that's where that team first thing comes. And George was the first to say, look, it's not about me this week. He said, don't make it awkward, or don't make it anything, you know, as George would, you know, let's just focus on what we have to do, because doing that is the most important thing. And if we can do that, then the celebration of George's international career will be that much better.
We'll do one more in English with Stefan, and then questions.
Josh, obviously the narrative, understandably, is obviously, because a lot of young, older players have gone, is that, you know, we're building for the future, we're going to have to go through some pain for long-term gain.
Yeah.
But how important is it that, you know, you do actually win, because you don't want to get into that habit of losing?
No.
You need to sort of break that, so that, you know, some of the young guys believe that they are sort of on the right track.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, nobody wants to lose, and I get that. Like, that it is that you have to. Sometimes you learn best from your losses, right? But they're only learnings if you show improvements the following week, right? Otherwise, there's no point. So, having a winning feeling inside this in a change room at home in Principality is something like Cam Winnett hasn't experienced, Alex Mann hasn't experienced. You know, the list can go on, you know, right? And for me, when I came in, I won my first test at home against Scotland. I lost to England away at Twickenham. I didn't lose for 13 tests after that. I just didn't. I was in a team that probably didn't know how to lose, do you know? And that's the sort of journey that we're going to have to get to, where it becomes like second nature, where we understand how to close games out, how to squeeze opposition better, and see tough test matches out, because no test match is easy. And that's something that, with learning, as you said, young boys, that the winning feeling certainly helps that and accelerates that.